there were rumors, there were grumblings that Kristi Noem was not doing her job properly.
The president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes, did it correctly.
Did the president know you were going to do this?
Yes.
He did?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And one thing, Senator, I think would be helpful to know is how effective that communications has been. That
they
overwhelmingly
were effective in your name recognition. I mean, I personally just, I mean, to me, it puts the president in a terribly awkward spot. And I'm not saying you're not telling the truth. It's just hard for me to believe.
I don't know what sparked it, but it appears that Donald Trump decided to transition her out of that position. Now, did she get fired? I don't know. Maybe that's, maybe a little more superfluous, but it does seem that Donald Trump decided to remove Kristi Noem from her post, putting her in another position and elevating another person into the position that she once held. Donald Trump seems to have a lot of positive things to say about Kristi Noem, but the fact still remains that she was ousted. Roll the Fox News clip explaining a little more on this topic. Roll it.
Breaking news, this comes a day after a difficult couple of days on Capitol Hill in both the House and the Senate for Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary. She is being replaced. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen is now going to take over her job. The president making the announcement on Truth Social just a short time ago. He writes, quote, "I am pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullen, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st of this year. The current Secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well and has had numerous and spectacular results, especially on the border, will be moving to be special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, which is a new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere that they're announcing on Saturday at Doral in Florida. The president says, "I thank Kristi for her service at Homeland." So this comes amid reports that the president was none too pleased about the advertising campaign money that came to light during these hearings, Sandra. And so just in the last 24 hours, we've heard a lot of rumors that Mark Wayne Mullen may be tapped for DHS, and now it appears the president has made that decision, and that's going to happen at the end of the month.
Yeah, there was some reporting leading up to this that this could be the case. No confirmation had been made by the president himself until now, but there was reports of frustration inside the White House over some of the actions taken on the part of Kristi Noem. Looking at the announcement, though, and looking at the touting President Trump does of Mark Wayne McMillan's record, 10 years in the U.S. House of Representatives, 3 in the Senate. The president says he's done a tremendous job with the people of Oklahoma. As the president pointed out, somewhere he did very well. So obviously this is breaking news. Just now, President Trump making the formal announcement that DHS Secretary Kristi Noem will be replaced, John.
Will, and also the president taking note of Mark Wayne Mullen's status as a former undefeated professional MMA fighter, also the only Native American in the Senate. Let's bring in Jackie Heinrich. She's at the White House. The timing of this, I guess, was a little bit of a surprise. We didn't expect it quite this soon, but it was certainly expected.
Well, John, this president has been reluctant to shuffle his staff since really early in his second term when he moved National Security Advisor Mike Waltz over to Ambassador of the UN. Since then, he's kept all of his folks sort of in position, weathered whatever criticism comes their way. And Kristi Noem, the DHS Secretary, has faced a turbulent period in the last few weeks. Amid the fallout, the response to the ICE deportation campaign in Minnesota, some public statements that she made, and then most recently this week, her testimony on Capitol Hill, there were reports that her defense of her campaign, her ad campaign, $200 million in spending that prominently featured her sometimes on horseback, claiming that the president, according to these reports, had approved of that, reportedly upset him. He wasn't happy about giving the impression that he had sort of authorized that amid this broader administration effort to root out fraud. So she's being moved now into another role. The Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas, a new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere that they're announcing on Saturday. The president's been, defensive of Kristi Noem for the last several weeks as she's faced questions about her ability to carry out her duties. He regularly pointed to the success closing the southern border, the fact that there have been no illegal immigrants caught and released into the interior of the U.S. for several months, the fact that overdoses and murders are at historic lows, and pointed to those successes to sort of boost her up and defend keeping her in place. But it seems like that testimony on Capitol Hill might have been a turning point. There were also some reports that FEMA funding that was stalled suddenly came through after questioning. And so this is a rapid development, of course, and something we didn't expect until potentially after the midterms. This is a strange time for the president to make that major of a shakeup. But there was, sort of the writing on the wall after he elevated Tom Homan, his border czar, to take a more prominent role in the ICE deportation campaign. It's well reported that there's been a long-standing rift between Homan and Noem about how this should be handled, All
right, so let me add value to this. I don't think anybody know really what Donald Trump is thinking in his mind. So I think it's all speculative, but it does appear that he wanted somebody else in that position. Two things could be the case. Either she wasn't doing her job properly, he don't want to let her down, and just embarrass her in her whole legacy and make himself look bad. So he switched her to a position that will then do nothing and she will go off into the ether. And he brought a person in a position that he think can do the job better. So that's just my opinion on it. I don't really know, but it was breaking news, so I had to talk about it. So we will see what Donald Trump say further, and we'll see how Mr. Mark Wayne Mullen, which I've liked some of the things that he said, in his position in the Senate. But we'll see what happens after that.